We need to have a discussion. Shit. We need to have a discussion because this shit is getting out of... Fuck. We need to have a discussion because this shit is getting out... That did not look cool enough. Basically, it's getting out of hand, man. And what am I talking about? You read the title already. Money does not make good music. This whole argument is getting out of hand. I'm not talking about beating your meat, all right? You need your hand for that. What I am talking about, there's this common misconception that if you make a lot of money, that means you make a lot of great music. And that is not the case. I've had this argument used against me about 1,000,003 times. Look, all right, a lot of money does not mean you make great music. How? Bruh, I got bands. I got bands, okay? All right, I'm not out of the loop. I'm not out of the... Oh, wait, no, this is a loop. Okay, my pun game is on crucial right now. Rappers and fans equating money to good music, making it seem like because an artist has lots of money, or more than you specifically, that your opinion on their music is somehow less valid. Well, you're selling music to millions of people, and you're also performing in front of millions of people. I would like to think that you are making substantially more money than I am. As if to say the reason for your dislike or distaste for this particular person's music is because you're somehow envious or jealous of their success or their bank account. It absolutely could not be from the fact that you just genuinely don't enjoy the track you just heard, whether it be from your favorite her or your favorite him. These arguments are most commonly found in order to defend artists like Drake, Nicki Minaj, Lil Uzi Vert, Lil Yachty, for at times making music in their highest state of mediocrity, as if you're predisposed to give these artists a pass because of their net worth or the amount that they tote in their lyrics. Why you feel the need to tell someone who makes significantly less money than you and you've acknowledged that how much money you actually make has me wondering what insecurities you really have. I've been with enough females to know that you telling me how big your bank account is essentially the same thing as me telling a female how big my bick is. Unless she's seen it, felt it, held it, it has no significance in her life. Unless I'm raw dogging the absolute soul out of her, making her scream to the top of her lungs to the point where her screams could be mistaken for a hysterectomy, it has no value or significance in her life. Those imaginary inches are the exact same as your bank account. Pointless, unless you plan on sending me a couple 100,000. It goes back years all the way to the Napoleon complex. Guys and girls doing all these things to try to divert people's attention away from the obvious thing. However, in the rap game, it's not so obvious. A lot of these people know how to hide their intentions very well. My issue with a lot of these fans is they don't use this argument in the correct context. They don't make this argument more appropriate, like for artists like Meek Mill or probably Chief Keef, who don't make the best music. They make a lot of street music, but the point of their music is to show people their come up. You know, them rapping about money and all these other things that are important to them isn't very surprising considering their background. You were raised to believe that you had no hope in this world and you were never going to amount to anything. The first sign of you having success, you're going to tell the world about it. I completely understand that. The problem with the fans is they don't use the argument in this context. They use it to try to say, oh, since you don't like this person's music, that must mean you're jealous of their bank account. They make way more money than you, so you have no valid opinion.
I don't want to understand you if you automatically assume the reason someone doesn't like a popular artist's music is because they're jealous of how much money they make. This is the same person who bought their album and they're just disappointed with the product they received. Popular corporations have this mentality all the time. If you don't like a product, you can complain about it. You can talk to someone about it. In the line of music, there's no one to talk to besides the audience. So if you don't like something, the only way to let people know you don't like it is to express it in forms like this, through social media, or telling your friends about it. Doesn't make you a hater. It just means you're not pleased with the service you pay for. If you go to McDonald's and you ask for a double cheeseburger with small fry and they hand you a dead body, you gonna eat the body? If you would, you're sick and I'm gonna need you to check into the nearest insane asylum.
Which wasn't the artist's original argument in the first place. I doubt when Nicki Minaj and Meek Mill broke up, she looked at him and said, well, maybe she did. Hold up. Wrong argument. Point is, you'll be hard pressed to see an artist that's directly from the street arguing with an interviewer or anybody else over how much money they make. Because 9 times out of 10, they're happy to be in the position where they can support their family. That's their goal. This form of thinking has given rise to ideals that don't necessarily represent the genre or what it was intended for, in my opinion. But there are some artists out there that actually do believe in these ideas. When making money becomes the pride of any artist's hard work, it incentivizes their more impressionable fans to spit out these idiotic ideas. I mean, what happens if artists like, let's say, Playboi Carti, Made in Tokyo, Lil Yachty, what happens when they start making significantly less money because people have gotten over their gimmick? Is our audience all of a sudden going to turn on them and say, oh, he doesn't make as much money now, he fell off? Because essentially, if you're equating the amount of money this artist makes to their level of musical skill, you're basically saying the minute they stop making as much money, you're not going to be as big a fan of them, or you're likely to stop supporting that artist entirely. Point is, the motivation in liking an artist's music is instantly diminished when you bring up their revenue in defense of their musicality. It's like the equivalent of having sex sex with a girl who's a dime and then she also has AIDS?
No, I'm not talking about Lil Yachty's looks. Wait, no, I'm not calling him ugly. I'm not calling him good looking. We're off this topic.
Okay, wait, there are way better analogies than that. It's like driving a brand new classic 1969 Mustang that always needs an oil change.
Don't change my oils.
And it leads to another argument. Doesn't that also discourage artists who are up and coming and on the rise from making music for reasons that they hold very near and dear to their heart? Kind of incentivizes them to focus more on their pockets than on their potential. This also speaks to that narrative of the whole fake fan mentality, when you feel like you can support an artist because they're on top, but the minute they start falling off because they have less money, you instantly want to say they're trash or start handing them random L's when you were just bumping their music less than a year ago.
Although I wasn't around in the era where Tupac and Biggie were dissing each other, or when Nas and Jay-Z were dissing each other, but I knew for the most part that the fans that were listening to both diss tracks from either side weren't saying, oh, this artist is better than the other because they make more money. But guarantee that's what I saw in the Drake versus Meek Mill beef, which wasn't beef. Maybe it's just a sign of the times. I sound like an old head. I wasn't around during the old times, but I'm just saying, based on my research and what I was able to find, I have no reason to believe that this is just because rap has changed. It's because the people who are listening to it have changed. We are the new breed of hip-hop listeners, okay? The old heads have less and less power every single day. So if you want hip-hop to thrive and you want it to continue, you need to kind of set an example for people who are coming up even after you. I'm not saying this is your responsibility, but even for the rappers out there who make this certain kind of music, equating money to skill, they need to understand that you're giving these ideas to people who are very impressionable. People nowadays who say they're fans of hip-hop or rap are generally between the age of 12 and possibly 90. I don't know, maybe they're 100. I don't want to rule anybody out. They range from all different shapes, sizes, races, genders, each person looking for their own thing. They're not always going to get that thing for one particular artist, so when people say, oh, this many rappers shouldn't even exist, I kind of look at them like they're not objectively thinking about the situation from a broader standpoint. If you want to equate money to skill, Bill Gates could become a rapper tomorrow and you'd have to put him at the top. We're not living in the genre of music where people equate money to skill based off their preference, like oh, I want to follow this artist because he's inspiring to me because he makes a lot of money, not because I think he's the best rapper. Instead, they'll say, oh, this guy's the best rapper because he makes a lot of money, not because his story or his upbringing is inspiring and I just like the fact that he's out of that situation now. Because that's how I feel about artists like Meek Mill, Tory Lanez, Lil Yachty, Lil Uzi. I'm happy they're not in those positions where they would have to do anything to make money, but I'm happy for them in their situation, not for their music. That is the separation that needs to be understood.
It shows the flip-flop mentality, because there are artists that are amazing without money and there are artists who are amazing with it. But if you can be amazing regardless of your money, that's when you're doing something. People are less incentivized to follow you because you make a lot of money or you can give them life tips. This gets into so many other topics when people use these to shield, the artist's quality of music. When you use L's and W's and social media and money to try to shield an artist from receiving any kind of criticism or even acclaim for their music, it ends up hurting them way more than it helps. You're listening to somebody and you consider them to be your favorite artist and your only defense of this artist is the fact that they make a lot of money, you're a shit fan. Myself, tons of other music analysts and or whoever you want to call a critic, reviewer, shit, I'll just call myself a decoder. I'm looking for the best music possible. I don't care what an artist is or what their background is or how much money they make or what they've done in their past or what their criminal background might be. I'm going to support an artist based on the quality of their music. This gets into a whole other conversation about can you support an artist if you don't personally agree with their choices. And I'm saying you cannot combine the two. The two do not matter. Do not speak of these two in the same breath because you're hurting the artist. To not offer an artist critique based on the fact that you like their music solely because they make more money than the next guy is refusing them of a great service of criticism that could substantially increase their following or severely diminish the quality of their music, even further than what it may have already been. There are tons of people that are guilty of this, myself. Let's say the Meek Mill review, for instance. When I did that video, I was completely non-biased in my review of his actual music. I was legitimately listening for some slaps, for some lyricism, for something different in Meek's career. Although I was there to do that, I didn't have to mention his L's. I didn't have to bring up the fact that he had the whole Drake feud. Of course, in my review of the music, I was mentioning how I wanted him to speak on these things a little bit more vividly in the music. But before that, I was making a couple jokes. That was unnecessary. Not everybody has to do that. And I'm saying a lot of people are in this position, whether they know it or not, connecting an artist's personal life to their music and then diminishing the quality of their music based on their personal life, or giving them more props than they deserve or accolades based on the money that they come in with. I really could go on about this topic all day, but I think I'm gonna stop here because I got a headache. Point is, I want you to listen to people's music based on the quality of their work and based on the drive that you sense in their music. Not by their social media standards, not by how many L's or W's they've received by random people that don't even know their personal life, not based off anyone else's opinion but your own. I want you to legitimately take a look at these artists' music and rank it, enjoy it, or despise it in the ways you see fit based solely on the music and nothing else. Money does not equal good music for the last time. Yes, you can pay for producers, you can pay for ghostwriters, but you cannot pay for skill. It's been a sit down with Shawn Cee. Oh my god, I just came up with that off the top. Straight off the top, nigga! That's gonna be the new thing. We're gonna call these the sit downs with Shawn Cee. Thank you all for watching. It's been me. I appreciate you. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. If you didn't, you can go suck me like an insect, and I'm out. Peace.